Hey guys, how you doing? It's Shane. Welcome back down to the workshop. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a good weekend. This month's YouTube video will be on one of the staffs from Final Fantasy. It was a commission I did for somebody. It was based off an image he found for a Vivi staff, I believe it is. One of the characters from Final Fantasy. I can't even remember which one it is, but unfortunately I don't actually have it here to show you, so I will be putting some pictures up around. As I was in a rush to get it sent off, I forgot to take some pictures for it. But this video will show you how I made it and the processes I went through. The only thing I haven't included is the latexing and the painting and the varnishing, because you've seen me do those 100 times. But if you do have any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll try and get to you as soon as I can. If you guys want to help me and the channel grow, please head over to my Patreon. It costs $1 a month or as much as you want to pledge. And once you're there, you can then start asking for things that we want to try and cover on this channel. Don't forget, I also stream Wednesdays to Fridays over on Twitch under the same name, TTC Craftsworks. And yeah, it'd be nice to see you there. So come join us, hang out, chill out, and we have a laugh. So without further ado, let's jump into it then, shall we? So starting off with this build, I measured the height of the staff we need, and I cut the fiberglass core quite short because of the curve at the top of the head of this staff needs to be just foam, just as a safety precaution, and we need a little bit of foam at the bottom. So once we have that cut to the length, we then can cut out our foam to make the actual staff section. With our foam strips cut out, we can then start working on the centerpiece. So find your center line, mark it all down nice and smooth, put your core down on the middle and then draw around it. This is the section we're going to cut out in a minute. So with the centre strip cut out of the middle section of foam, this is where we're going to place our core. We can then start gluing up the core, make sure you cover all of it including the very ends, and then on the inside of that centre strip where we've just cut out. Now our core is in place, we're going to start gluing up the rest of this. So first off, don't forget to put on the reinforcement where the core meets the foam. You don't want any play there. So there I used a little bit of false leather, just glue it on top and then start gluing up the rest of the foam and gluing them together. Once the main part of the shaft is built, we then need to start building up the head. So here you can see I've glued on several pieces of foam together to make an outlet, if you like, and we're going to start drawing our shape as we go, cutting off bits that we don't and just shaping it nice and smoothly. Once we've added enough foam to create the shape we want, we can then cut it out using a knife or scroll saw or something, and then we can then start using a hand knife and shaping it to a little bit more rounded edge to what we actually need it to be. Once we've cut away most of the outer edging that we don't need with the hand knife, we can then go to the belt sander. Now you don't need to use a belt sander, you can use a Dremel, or you can just keep cutting away with a knife and then round it out with a bit of sanding. I use this because it's a lot easier. So all I'm doing now is just rounding that head piece just nice and smooth with the belt sander, and then I'll go in with a Dremel and then back onto the hand sanding. Now we've got the staff shaped to roughly the shape we want, we're going to start adding a bit of wood detail. So I'm going to use the edge of the drum on the Dremel, and I'm just taking gouges out, making nice little waved lines close together, some deep, some shallow, mixing it up and just creating a nice good thick wood effect. Now the wood grain effect is on the staff, we can start adding a bit more detail to this bottom section. Now on the original picture there was an extra piece of wood type thing on the side that looks like a vein. So what I've used is a strip of 8mm foam cut into a strip and then placed on, and then I'll take the edges off and round it out, and just using the Dremel to add a bit more denting and turning and make it look as though it's part of it. Now that the bottom section's finished, we can start heading upwards. Now to the top end of the staff, I've done exactly like I did at the bottom. I've added bits of foam, layered it up to get to the right size I need, then I've drawn on my pattern. From here, I'll then use the knife or the scroll saw to cut it out, shape it with my knife, sand it, bit of Dremelin, just like we did on the bottom. Now we're just adding the last bit of detail to this top part of the staff. This is like the bottom with this added vein section. We do the exact same thing, a strip of foam added to it, cut the edges down, and then using the Dremel just add the final bit of detail and smooth it in with a bit of hand sanding. Then we're on to the large section at the top. Finally, we move on to the top section. Now for this, I drew a quick template on a piece of paper that I thought would be the right size, and then I transferred that to several pieces of 8mm foam. Now I will make multiple layers to make a nice big fat cross section, and then I'm going to go back in with a knife and trim it down to what I need to. Now this will be done again in 2 parts. Once we've took as much as we can off with the knife, we then go to the sander. Now this can be used as a Dremel, a finger sander or a belt sander. We're just going to take as much time as we need and just take off all the edges, round it all down to make it look like the rest of the staff. When you're doing the wood texture on this next piece, try and keep the direction the same way as you have as the rest of the staff. So if it was all going up on the staff, you want it still going up on this section. It's supposed to resemble one single large piece of wood. Once we're happy with the wood grain effect, before we glue it to the rest of the staff, we've got to put the continuation of that vein detail in. So just like before, strips of 8mm foam added on, cut the edges down with a knife, and then using the Dremel to rough it up and add the texture. Once we're finished with that section, we're doing the final bit, the bit that goes on the top. Now this is like a V shape, so it's like two wings joined in together that goes onto that single top piece. Now again, I used a paper template that I drew up. I then cut it out onto several pieces of foam, glued them together, and just like before, wash and repeat, layer them up, cut them down with a knife, then go in with the Dremel and the sander, and then try and make it the wood grain effect. Now that these sections are done, we can glue it all together and make it one nice big staff. So that's it, guys. This one's over. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a crack at trying to make one yourself, and yeah, I hope some of the tips video are helpful. But as always, guys, thank you very much for joining me. If you want to hop over to Twitch Wednesday to Friday, I'm there usually around 10:30 GMT time till late afternoon. If you want to help me or the Patreon, the channel out, join my Patreon. It's $1 a month, or you can pledge as much as you want. That helps me to keep making videos for you guys. And yeah, come on over to Twitch and we'll have a laugh, we'll have a chat, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.